the Childhood Cancer Perspective, everybody. And like always, I'd like to thank you so much for sticking with me through all these episodes as I continue to talk about JC's journey, about our missions into advocacy, and everything we have been through as a family, from diagnosis to her unfortunate passing on July 3rd of 2021, and everything we've been doing afterwards. Today, unfortunately, I need to start on a very somber note, and I need to say that I hope everybody out there can do me one big favor and say a prayer for the Nice family. Um, JC, when we were in the hospital, we met a very incredible family through our social worker. Her name was Samantha. Everybody called her Sam. She was exactly 1 year older than JC. They had the same exact birthday. The only two children to come in to do their treatments in unicorn onesies. Our social worker thought we would be great friends, we would hit it off, and she could not have been more right. They have stuck by our side through everything that we went through, and unfortunately, yesterday, Sam gained her angel wings after a very long fight with FHC, and something that her parents did everything they could in order to save her and give her the best life possible. Unfortunately, her body just was not strong enough anymore, and she is now riding her unicorn with JC in heaven, making sure that all the little children up there are taken care of, that they are once again whole, they are once again able to do the things they weren't able to do, and they are in heaven together. So if you could all do me a big favor and just say a prayer for their family as they're going through a very, very rough time right now, and pray for them to be okay. Pray for them to be at peace, knowing that she is now at peace and she is now no longer in pain, no longer suffering, no longer going through the battle that she was so good at. So please, if you could do that for me, I would appreciate it. That event yesterday, when we got the phone call or the message from our friend, letting us know that their daughter, had taken her last breath, we were there within minutes. We were at their house and we stayed with them all day, much like they did when our daughter JC passed. They were with us all day through the endless stream of people, it felt like, that were at our house giving their condolences and things like that. They were with us. So we were there for them yesterday the best that we could be. And this episode is stemming from everything that we have felt as a family and as two families together, and everything we have felt from our children, that actually things that really line up almost exactly. Even though both of our daughters had a different type of cancer, we treated them differently, by way of immunotherapies and chemotherapies. They used a lot of integrative medicine, and but the same things, the same attitudes are what we noticed from our kids, and it really proves that the true innocence of a child, the true innocence of these children, is really overlooked. And I think something that we're lacking, and much like her father and our friend Jason said, the world is lacking people that are like our children, that are like JC, that are like Sam, and so many others that unfortunately we have lost either this year or just in our time doing this, we have lost. They're like those, but we're lacking people that are innocent like them, with genuine hearts and a genuine need and necessity to do good in the world and to be good people. We are lacking that. These children, JC and Sam, both exhibited the same attitude going through these treatments. Number one, it was always about somebody else. They didn't complain. They didn't bitch. They didn't moan. They wanted to make sure that other people were happy. If that meant making sure that your brother and sister, or your brother and sister, your sisters, your siblings, whatever it may have you, had presents for Christmas, or that they got a toy, or they got time with you, or whatever it may be, or just somebody that they saw that was less fortunate and they wanted to give something of theirs to them, even though somebody important gave it to them, they felt like somebody else needed it. That's the true innocence of these children, of these fighters. And the same thing was brought up yesterday when we were talking, when JC was going through everything. And it happened, I think, more so when we were going through her stem cell transplant. When we were in the hospital in Milwaukee, we were there for 40 days. And during that 40 days, anything that happened that went wrong, she had pulled out her NG tube. She didn't pull it out. It ended up coming out when she got sick. And the first thing she did was apologize. And she got upset. And I remember the nurses coming in, and they were incredible. But the first thing she did was apologize. She said, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I feel like it's my fault. I feel like I did something wrong." Um, and they were quick. And I was too quick to say, "This is not your fault. You're battling a circumstance that you didn't ask for. You're battling a circumstance that most people would just curl up in a ball and just do nothing but complain or just give up. And you're here fighting. This is not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong." And it was like that a lot of times though. Anytime she was going through this, she would apologize. If something happened, if she, there was a point in time during, the last few months of her life where she couldn't get up and go to the bathroom, and she would have accidents, or um, she would, I don't know, again, pull the NG tube out or spill something or whatever the case, get sick, and we'd have to clean it up, or we were, super tired and exhausted, and that apologetic nature to say, "I'm sorry. I wish you didn't have to go through this. I'm sorry. This is my fault. I feel bad. I feel like I did something wrong." And it seems like no matter how much you tell them that, "Listen, this is not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Like, you're just trying to be a kid and you were dealt a shitty hand, and you're doing the best you can. Nobody's mad at you. Like, I'm mom and dad and your sisters. We're proud to take care of you. We're proud to call ourselves your family. We're proud of everything you've done and everything you've been through, and yet you still continue to fight. You still continue to worry about how other people are going to feel. You still continue to worry about uh, what what's going to happen, if you're not here, and how is that going to hurt us or hurt other people, or what are other people going to be affected by?" And that's that innocence. That's that true innocence that we're missing. That true genuine heart and genuine caring for other people that we're missing. And Sam was the same way. Sam, we weren't there for those final moments. We weren't there for the last, few weeks because they needed to be there for her and with her, and we always offered up our time and our comfort for them if they needed it. But she was the same way, and that was the stories that we got yesterday, was that she was always apologizing, always saying, "If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be so stressed. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be so tired. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be going through all of this." Or, I'm sorry that we can't do the things that you want to do because of me. I'm sorry that we can't go on vacations and we can't, do this and that because of me. And of course, the response is that you don't have to be sorry. You didn't do anything wrong. This is not your fault. You're literally fighting a cancer at at 11 years old, 10 years old, 9 years old, whatever. You're fighting that cancer at of somebody that has been drinking their whole life, or that has made a lot of mistakes in their life, or made bad decisions. You're fighting the same cancer. And you didn't have the chance to grow up and make those mistakes. You didn't have the chance to go out there and do the stupid shit that got you into the situation you're in now. You didn't have that chance. This isn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. But yet she always cared so much about everybody else. She worried about how her parents were going to handle her passing. She worried about how her brother and sister were going to handle her passing. And that's just the kind of person she was, and the kind of person that JC was, and the kind of people that all these children are that are fighting this terrible, terrible disease, is they're innocent and they're genuine, and they just want to be there for other people, and they just want to be there to make sure that you're okay, all the while not worrying about whether or not they're going to be okay. I remember asking JC, and to be honest with you, it can be thought about in many different ways. Whether or not you believe she understood, whether or not you believe her mental capacity had changed to the point where she couldn't understand. But I asked her if she was scared. at one point. I didn't say, "Are you scared to die?" I said, "Are you scared?" And this is when she was home with us. She was in bed all the time. She was sleeping. She just didn't have the energy to get up and move around. And she was tethered to a feeding machine and stuff like that. And um, I, she said no. She said she wasn't scared. And I think she understood to a point what was going to happen if, we stopped everything. If we kind of just said we're going to go home and we're just going to be there. I think she understood. And I think, on a personal level, yes, Sam was the same way. I know that she did have a specific conversation with her mother, and she told her, "I'm not afraid to die." She said, "I'm not afraid." Because now, and what really, and I hope that I can keep it together through this, but what really kind of broke my heart yesterday amongst the entire situation was that she told her mother and her father that that she couldn't wait to get to heaven so that she could give JC a hug. And I know that the two of them are up there right now riding their special unicorns with the most beautiful wings that you've ever seen. And they're telling jokes and they're laughing and they're doing all the things that they could not do as the friends that they were supposed to be. They were meant to be this dynamic duo of kids that were going to just take on the world and they were going to change everything. And I believe in my heart, number one, I believe that JC welcomed her to heaven with open arms. And I believe that signs that I was shown days before she passed tell me that JC was here and she was ready to comfort Sam. She was ready to take her into her arms and tell her that it was going to be okay. And that she was going to live being whole again. She was going to be safe and no pain. And everybody would learn how to live knowing that she was with them every day, just not in the physical sense. And I believe that with my whole heart, that she was there and she took care of it. I believe every day that they are there together, taking on the world. And they're going to do everything they can from there to make sure that everybody here is safe. But I also believe in my heart that if those two kids would have met on any other platform other than this cancer world, that they would have been the greatest of friends that you could have ever known. And they would have done amazing things together. They would have done so much incredible work in whatever capacity they decided to do. They would have done it. It would have been an incredible thing to watch. But they were on loan here. The two of them were on loan here from God, on loan from heaven, to come down and make an impact, to make a change, to make a voice, to make something known. And then they had to leave. They were only here for a little while. But I'm here doing this. I'm here working with Congress. I'm here working with local government. I am here doing all of this, and her family and so many other families are doing it because of the massive, massive impacts that their children made in the short time that we had with them. But today, the theme today is the massive, massive impact that they've made in showing us what being a genuine and true person is, and something that we are definitely and desperately missing in this world right now. There are so many things going on, both in the political front, in the climate front, in, you know, racial front, in the cultural front, whatever kind of space and platform that you are following or you are a part of. There's so much going on in the world right now. But the one thing missing from every single one of those movements, the one thing missing is genuine, true, real people. Genuine innocence, meaning that you only see the good in the world and you just stop highlighting the bad. These kids are what we need here right now. These children, these fighters, these warriors, these are what we need here on this earth right now. These are the ones that we need running colleges, running all the schools, running corporations, running Congress, running the White House, running the world. These are what we need. And these kids have shown us what it's like to be in the worst situation in their lives, to be fighting every single day a fight they didn't ask for, to be fighting every single day when they're supposed to be playing outside, doing stupid shit, getting hurt by skinning up your knee by ramps and bricks out of old plywood in your garage like we did as kids, by going out in the daytime and coming home at dinner time, by just getting out of the house. They're not able to do these things, but they still show us what it's like to be a kid without being able to do all the kid things. Now, what I will say is that social media for me and my family has been huge because it's a way that I can connect with so many people. This podcast allows me to connect with more people that I may not see on social media, but it allows me to connect with families that have been forever. In the past couple of years, we've been stuck, right? Something that was said at our gala this weekend by somebody very close to us and special to us is said that these relationships through social media and through this cancer community, a lot of them have been built because of COVID, because of the lockdowns, because of us being shuttered away from the world. We were forced to live through a screen, forced to live through headphones. And although it may have sucked, it brought about relationships and armies for that matter that are now in this fight because we had that time to really grow and gain momentum. But we're not in it because we want to be in it. Nobody wants to be in this cancer world, in this cancer community. Nobody wants to be part of this family at all. But every single day, I promise you that I will fight and I will go scorched earth with anybody that thinks that they can talk down to us, anybody that thinks that they can not listen to what we have going on and what we need to be saying. I will do that for you, and that's a promise. But in order for us to finally break through that that fourth wall, to break through that glass ceiling so that people can see what we're doing here, we have to inject more of our children's innocence. We have to inject what they've taught us. We have to inject what Sam and what JC, what Brooklyn and what DJ and what all these other kids that we have met, the ones that have passed, but the ones that are still fighting. Sarah, Robin, how many? I can go on for hours if you want me to with all these names. But for all of these kids, what we have to do is we have to take that innocence that they are so proud to show. And we have to inject that into everything that we're doing, into our everyday lives, into our families, into our work, into our advocacy, into our fight for any type of change. All of us have a mission. All of us have a hill that we're willing to die on. This is mine. What I'm saying is that if you have one and it's not childhood cancer, that's fine. But make sure you put your everything into it and make sure you take that innocence and that genuine heart and you put it into it. And you remember to live like these kids lived. They had a short time here on earth, from months to years, and we're talking 10, 11 years. They had a short time here, but they made a massive impact. And we have to take that impact and we actually have to utilize it. We have to push it. We have to make sure that we're embracing it. Because if we don't, then these children's lives would have been in vain. And I'm not willing to let that happen. Not here, not now. Watching your child go through something like cancer, from the treatments, radiation, immunotherapies, stem cell transplants. Um, JC is forever 8, but she had multiple surgeries, brain surgeries, shunts, shunt revisions, NG tubes, multiples in, out, um, CAT scans, MRIs, all these things that there's no way for me to calculate all of it. It's so much. But I can remember in the very beginning, okay, waking up from things, she definitely was not happy. She was angry. But in the end, or once she got, I guess, and it's terrible to say this, but once she got used to the treatment, she got used to going to the hospitals, used to doing scans and things, she would wake up and show that true innocent self, that true goofy side of her that didn't let things get in her way. And she made sure that everybody knew just how awesome she was. Not by saying it, but just by being her. I wish that we didn't have to be part of this family. I wish that we didn't have to be part of this community. I wish we didn't have to be part of the fight. But this is the path that has been laid before us. And I choose to embrace the beautiful smile and innocence that JC showed to me. I choose to embrace her willingness to help others, even in her worst days. I choose to embrace everything she showed me as a person. I think I grew as a person during those inpatient stays with her. That 40 days plus another 12 um, during her last hospital stay was time that her and I grew as a father and a daughter. And our relationship grew into best friends. She knew that I was always going to be there for her, that I would never leave her side. And she made sure, even being there, that I was okay. Well, I was just trying to make sure she was okay. But she always had a way of kind of letting me know that it's going to be okay. And when I looked her in her eyes in the early morning hours of July 3rd, 2021, when she woke up and she started having trouble breathing, the second time, when I looked her in her eyes, and she knew, and I'm telling you, these kids know that it's coming, and they can feel things that are happening, and they know, is I really do feel like they've seen something. Somebody has shown themselves saying, it's okay. We're here to protect you. You're safe. Your family's going to be okay. And I remember holding her hand while holding the mask on her at the same time and asking her, are you okay? And all she did, she shook her head. All she did was she nodded at me. And shortly thereafter, her sisters were able to come in and say that they loved her, hold her hand. And then she went into that deep sleep. And that was the last time she spoke to us or even communicated with us. But that last effort, when I think she knew in her heart, and I think spiritually she knew that she wasn't going to make it, she made sure that we were okay. She made sure to tell me that she was okay. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say here as an entire episode. These kids, they obviously don't want to die. And they don't want to suffer. And they don't want to be in pain. And they don't want to go through this. But they're worried about us. They're worried about how we feel. They're worried about how we are going to handle it or how are we going to survive. And it really truly isn't kind of an incredible feeling because they don't have to. Like, you don't need to be strong for us. You don't need to be strong for me. I remember telling her that. You don't have to be strong for me. If you're if you don't feel good, if you're having a bad day, if you're just sad, just tell me. And there were days when she would just be sad and she'd say, I don't know why I'm sad. I'm just sad and it's okay. And then we would just lay there and we would cuddle and she'd put her head on my shoulder and she would just relax and kind of take a little bit of time and we'd cry together and it would, it would be okay. But she would try so hard to not say anything just to make sure that I wasn't upset and just worrying about other people. And so our children are our most valuable assets, and we have to treat them as such. And I think far too many people have taken it for granted what a valuable asset our children are to our lives. And that simple thing of bringing innocence into your life and bringing that genuine heart and caring about other people before yourselves into your life is something that I think we take for granted. And you can't get time back. You know, once it's gone, it's gone. And so, my advice today, if I can give you advice, is to make sure that you take the time with your kids and you soak in all of that genuine heart. You soak in all of that everybody before me attitude. And you soak in that real and true person that they are, that innocence that they have as kids. Sometimes that innocence means that kids will say whatever they want because they don't have a filter, and that's okay. Allowing them to share their feelings and share how they truly feel, I think, is a really good thing because I don't think a lot of people believe that what they feel is kind of relevant because they're so young, but yet giving them a voice and giving them the opportunity to kind of show you who they truly are is something that is priceless. And it's time you cannot get back if you don't listen. We're in a day and age now where everybody's on their phones, their tablets, their computers. They're locked into to everything that's going on in their world. And I am no person to I'm guilty. I'm no one to say that I'm perfect at this. But take the time with your kids. Put the phone down, turn the TV off, close the computer, give work an hour, and take that hour and give it to your kids because you can't get it back. And let them show you that true innocence and let them show you their genuine hearts because I promise you it's worth it. And if you want to see, if you don't have kids and you truly want to see that genuine and that real and true person, follow the stories of one of our kids, whether it's on Facebook, TikTok, whatever other social media. Take the time to just Google pediatric cancer, Google the warrior stories, and all of these different, there's lots of different websites that highlight stories about these kids. Take the time, read one of the stories, read about their kids, watch the videos about their kids, and you'll see what I mean. It's not all smiles, and it's not all sunshine, but these kids sure as hell make the best out of an absolutely horrible situation. And this world is missing that. Right now, we're missing that. I don't get into politics on here or in social media anymore. I try to stay out of it. But our political situation and our cultural situation could all do, could be doing a lot better with an injection of the innocence that we see from these kids. with an injection of the genuine hearts that we have. And when I tell you that trying to get something done politically, legislatively is damn near impossible, it is. But don't quit. And if you're thinking about doing anything like that or supporting it or even running for office or something along those lines and having it be a platform that you're going to make sure these kids are taken care of and that they're given the voice they deserve, don't quit. Don't let anybody tell you that it can't be done. I'm here to tell you it's hard, it's not easy, but it can be done. So, with that, I'd like to say thank you guys for listening today. Sorry it was more of a somber episode. Yesterday was a long day for our family and for our friend's family. We want to take this time once again to please ask you to say a prayer for the Nice family, for the mother, the father, Kirsten and Jason, for Sam in heaven now, and for their two other children, Eleanor and Elliot, that they can learn to live knowing that their sister will forever be with them and their daughter will forever be with them, just not in the physical sense anymore. That they are currently riding their unicorns together, Sam and JC, in heaven with the most beautiful wings you have ever seen. Thank you all so much for sticking with me. I will see you next week.